Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're on a mission to build the perfect artificial mind. But if you're thinking about bigger data sets and faster processors, you're on the wrong track. Our blueprint is actually going to come from some very strange places. Wi-Fi signals, a couple of classic video games, and even an 18th century philosopher. So let's start piecing together these clues, which have been hiding in plain sight all along.
Okay, let's just jump right in. And think about this for a second. Forget about all the silicone and code. If you had to build a perfect thinking machine right from scratch, what would you even use? What kind of abilities would it need to not just, crunch numbers, but to actually perceive the world, to strategize, and maybe even have something that looks a lot like wisdom?
I know, it sounds kind of crazy, right? But the answer, believe it or not, comes from connecting these four seemingly random things. Each one of these is a critical piece of a much bigger puzzle, and when we put them all together, they give us the blueprint for a smarter, more intuitive, and, well, a much more human-like AI. So let's start putting this thing together. All right, clue number one. This comes from a place you would probably never guess: your Wi-Fi router. Seriously, it turns out those invisible signals zipping all around us hold a really powerful secret for giving an AI a brand new way to see the world. So get this, researchers in Rome built this system called Wi-Fi, and it doesn't use cameras, it doesn't use microphones, not like that, nope. Instead, it just analyzes how your physical body distorts the Wi-Fi signals that are already floating around in the room. And those tiny little changes create a unique biometric signature, letting an AI sense who's there and where they are, completely passively. Just think about what a huge shift this is. We're moving away from things like invasive cameras or having to wear some kind of sensor. This is more like ambient awareness. Our AI can now perceive its environment without ever looking at it in the way we'd normally think. It's like it's developing a sixth sense, and that's a cornerstone for the mind that we're trying to build here. Okay, so our agent can sense the world. Now what? Well, for our next clue, we're going to look at how it learns to think, how it plans and strategizes. And we're not talking about some super complex simulation. We're talking about two classic games that teach two totally different but absolutely crucial ways of thinking. This is so cool. You get two vital cognitive skills from these two games. First, you've got Minesweeper. One wrong click and bam, game over. That high-stakes pressure cooker is the perfect training ground for an AI to learn hypothetical thinking, forcing it to reason its way through a problem when the risks are high. And then you have Minecraft, which teaches something totally different: chunking. It's all about taking a huge goal, like building an epic castle, and breaking it down into small, doable steps. Okay, but how does an AI actually do this stuff? How does it develop that game-like intuition? Well, it uses this incredible algorithm called a Monte Carlo tree search, or MCTs. The easiest way to think about it is that the AI plays thousands of tiny, random, super fast versions of the game from its current position. Just to see which moves lead to a win most often, it builds this giant tree of possibilities, exploring countless futures to find the absolute best path forward, kind of like a chess grandmaster on steroids. This is the engine that drives its whole strategic thinking process. All right, so our agent can see the world, and it can strategize like a pro. But that's not everything, is it? We're missing the big one: wisdom. Common sense. How does it learn to apply what it knows? Well, for that final clue, you're not going to believe where we have to go. We're heading way back to the 18th century. I want you to meet this guy, Thomas Reid. He was a Scottish philosopher, and he had this absolutely profound insight into what intelligence really is. He argued that you don't become smart by figuring everything out from zero every single time. Nope. He said that true reasoning is built on top of a foundation of everything that's come before, this deep well of past experiences and judgments. What's just wild is that he basically laid out a blueprint, an algorithm really, for an ideal agent, long before computers were even a dream. Here it is. Step 1, you gather up experiences. Step 2, you develop habits from them. Step 3, you apply what he called common sense. And finally, you base all your new reasoning on that entire foundation. This is the missing piece, the framework for genuine wisdom. Okay, this is it, the moment of truth. We've collected all our pieces. We have the perception, we have the strategy, and now we have the wisdom. It's time to put all of these clues together and finally reveal the blueprint for this new kind of artificial mind. And here is our final blueprint. Wi-Fi gives our agent a way to perceive the world without eyes. The logic from Minesweeper and the power of MCTs give it strategic exploration. The chunking it learns from Minecraft gives it a way to actually execute on big plans. And finally, Thomas Reid's philosophy provides the operating system, that layer of common sense that builds on every single experience it's ever had. So this leaves us with one heck of a final thought. If we build an AI not just on raw computing power, but on these deeply human-like foundations, perception, intuition, accumulated wisdom, well, we really start to blur the line between what's artificial and what's natural intelligence. What really is the difference at that point? That's something to think about.